I put the game so long ago when I
All right, we're settling in to Game 3. This is a counterbalance mirror, so get ready for a fight. I don't know, for those of you just joining us, we just watched Michael Bumholtz fight through an unbelievable amount of hate for his deck. His opponent played a Pride Mage, or his opponent played 2 Pride Mages, his opponent played a Mengar of Karandor, his opponent played a pair of Thoughtseizes and a Duress, and he was still able to power through with his artifact-based Stompy deck. The deck has extraordinarily powerful draws and can win out of nowhere. It actually looked like there was nothing he could draw, and then a Grim Monolith came off the top, and the Grim Monolith instantly created a ritual for 5, which allowed him to play a Sunring Titan and destroy all of his opponent's lands. From there, he was able to cast a Wormcoil Engine and lock up the game. Alright, both players here are drawing their opening hands. Josh is on the play, and that looks like a somewhat reasonable opener here. Josh has a Wrath of God, Div Top. Div Top's probably the most important card in this matchup. He also has the counterbalance. Remember, assembling that is one of the most important things you can do here. So, Ben can't be happy to see Josh with the turn 1 top. That's a pretty huge advantage here.
Yep.
So, Josh decides to spin his top during his upkeep. That seems like a somewhat reasonable line of play. He passes the turn with a fetch land open. I doubt he's going to crack that on his opponent's end step. He wants to save that fetch land because it has a great deal of value when you have the div top. Ben plays a second land and attempts to go for the counterbalance. Josh does not have a counterspell in hand, so he's going to crack this Scalding Tarn, spin the top, and look for a Force of Will so that he can pitch that the extra counterbalance of his own to deal with the counterbalance that Ben is trying to play.
Which kind of sack land was that?
I'm assuming
that was a Scalding Tarn.
I almost wonder if he could have considered going for a volcanic island to spin and hope for Red Elemental Blast as well.
Yeah, we got an understanding here. Like I had an issue.
Well, he has to pay the mana to look at the top 3 cards first.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
No worries. We're very tired.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long weekend. We've been watching Magic for God, since 8 a.m. this morning, which puts us at about 15 hours today.
So at least some number of swords remain in Josh's deck. I just saw swords. I believe he also has a Wrath of God in his hand. That is a Portal Wrath of God.
And the blind flip.
And the blind flip revealed a Volcanic Island. Now, Josh has assembled his counterbalance top, which is an extraordinarily scary thing. The mirror is very difficult to win in this type of situation. Now, there's a 1 on the top of the deck for Josh, but he doesn't have a 2 in his top 2 cards at least, so something like a Tarmogoyf could resolve, although it would just mean the swords.
No, you're fine. It's within the
Tarmogoyf is the exact way that Ben Weinberg finally wrapped things up after he had the game totally wrapped up in game 2.
Now here, Josh has just an Enlightened Tutor in his hand, and when you combine this card with Counterbalance, Enlightened Tutor is almost a hard counter.
The problem, of course, is that his opponent also has a counterbalance, so the ability to blind counter things really is real, even if you're not, planning it out in the same way. It still happens fairly often.
It's true, especially when both players have about 30% of their deck consisting of 1-drops.
Okay, 3 mana for a Blood Moon, maybe? Oh, sorry, I've got the wrong. I've got it
wrong
backwards.
Yeah.
That's Ben Weinberg.
So, it's a Trinket Mage. Now, Josh has a a Wrath of God sitting there. Or that may have actually been a Humility. I'm not particularly sure.
I think it was a Wrath.
And what is that card in his hand? Is that another Wrath? Or is that...
Is it better than mine?
Yeah, that is a Portal Wrath, right?
So one of the things leading into this is Game 3 of Ben Weinberg versus Josh Guibault. And so they're playing to wrap up this one. Previous to this, Ben Weinberg beat Drew Levin playing countertop with Bant 2-0. Josh Guibault beat Josh Radin, who was playing Show and Tell Natural Order 2-0. Alex Bertoncini lost to Michael Bumholt 2-1. And then Brian Fisher beat Phil Jones 2-0. Fisher with Junk and Taxes winning, and Mono Brown beating Merfolk. Then Fisher versus Bumholt 2-1 for Mono Brown. Michael Bumholt winning. And right now, we're going to see the final game of the semis. The winner of this game will go on to face Mono Brown in the hands of Michael Bumholt. A Trinket Mage on the table because there was no 3-drop to be able to stop anything there. Swords to Plowshares comes to finish it. Blind Reveal shows a counterbalance, so the Trinket Mage goes away.
Huh. I'm surprised to use the swords just to deal with that.
I understand.
I figure he might want to juice up the board a bit. He's got a Wrath in hand, and it's only a 2/2. I could see Ben looking to apply a bit more of a clock.
Now, one of the things that Ben really has going on here is he has Krosan Grip in his deck.
That's true. He could break himself out of this. And is that a Krosan Grip in his hand? Or is that a Tarmogoyf? I believe it's a Tarmogoyf.
I'll go.
I'm not
I'm fine.
100% positive.
Yep.
That looks like a Tarmogoyf to me.
Josh has the tools to assemble a Thopter Sword right now.
Yeah.
I believe he probably wants to leave a 2 on the top of his deck right now, though.
Draws Academy Runes.
And that makes it impossible to break up.
Ben Weinberg, notably, has 0 Wasteland. His only way to stop Academy Runes is Pithing Needle.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Now, I'm surprised his opponent isn't attempting in any way to put the combo into play. I mean, he knows Ben has Krosan Grip, and I can't imagine he wants this game to go long. Ben has the opportunity post-board to make haymaker type plays where he can, search for whatever he needs off the top. Set up the Krosan Grip turn, and he Krosan Grips end of turn, and then he puts his opponent in counterbalance lock, and that's the worst nightmare for Josh. So the fact that Josh is giving Ben more time is somewhat surprising to me.
Well, one of the things, I know that he can be aware that Krosan Grip exists, as a means to break out of this situation, but sometimes there's a tendency for countertop players just in general to play towards caution, and the idea of tapping down to start killing your opponent can sometimes be one of those things that they just don't want to do just because of they chose this deck because it suited them.
And I mean, that makes sense, but
I'm not saying it's good.
He doesn't even need to tap that much mana. It's only 2 mana, and then he creates a combo where he gains life equal to the number of lands he has in play and creates that many 1/1s every single turn.
Another thing he could be attempting to do is assemble a 3 on top of his library just to hold things down.
Mana caster. Yeah. We're gonna fetch for sure first. We definitely don't want to. Sunburst 2. Cast for 3.
Tropical Island, one of my favorite dual
How
lands.
many cards in hand? 7?
Now, Ben's going to go for a blind hit on this counterbalance.
So far he's whiffed on all the blinds, is that right?
That is right.
He needs a Trinket Mage here.
He does, in fact, need a Trinket Mage.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. No, I assumed.
And it's a whiff with a land.
Now, this gives Josh an opportunity to resolve the Thopter Foundry he has in his hand. I don't know if he does. I know for a fact that he has the sword in his hand, but he might just have to use one of the multiple enlightened tutors he has. Set that up. Now that he has the explosives, he may just pass the turn.
That's interesting. Ben knows that there's a sack land on top. Does he want that 4th sack land? Is that something he actually wants?
He may actually want that 4th sack.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, he's expecting this match to go a while. Oh, wow. So Josh has a future sight in his hand.
Oh my goodness. And I don't know if Ben has anything that stops a future sight.
Crossing Grips.
Force of Will.
Huh? All of these cards?
I mean, on top of the library. I was thinking about the 5s. Force of Will is a...
This spins the top. And he's going to reveal 1.
Lets it happen.
Let's Ben resolve that again. Now, Ben has this force in his hand, so the future sight is not going to resolve anytime soon. Are there any 5-cost artifacts or enchantments in this deck with Enlightened Tutor? Future sight, but it's in hand.
Force of Will.
You know, Future Sight as a card, it may seem a little cute for Legacy, and it's extraordinarily powerful. It's about on par with Jace, but there are more cards that actually kill it, which makes it probably worse, even though it costs more mana. But I really like the fact that he has 1 Future Sight in his deck alongside these Enlightened Tutors, because it gives him a 5.
Yeah.
And again, this is a 5 for the top of his deck with the counterbalance top engine that he can put there with the Enlightened Tutor. And that lets him counter Force of Wills, and that's just a huge edge.
Ben taps a couple more of his mana. Lays another Trinket Mage. Enlightened Tutor.
Now, Enlightened Tutor
Ben
is
shows a Spell Pierce. Oof. That's not a blind hit, that's a brainstorm hit.
yeah.
Trinket Mage. I'm going to shuffle away this
Ouch.
card here. Find some slip cards.
It seems odd that he would have played it before the shuffle effect. I guess he was attempting to counter the Trinket Mage by searching for a 3. Perhaps he wanted to grab Blood Moon and see if he could force it through.
Now, it was noted yesterday in the Starkington Post that in the Standard there were 0 Jaces in the top 4. And here in Legacy, on the other hand, we're seeing both these decks have Jaces, which is kind of interesting. That Jace the Mind Sculptor didn't actually manage to crack the top 4 in a format where essentially the card, I think, dwarfs in power, maybe a little bit more. Now, the helping power of a Force of Will with a Jace, though, can't be underestimated.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Jace in Legacy. Having the ability to go Jace, Brainstorm, Go, Force of Will is something that's extraordinarily difficult to deal with for most people.
Let me know when you're done with.
Now, Ben's opponent just broke Ben out of counterbalance lock. Ben has a pair of Force of Wills in his hand and a full grip. Ben could use this opportunity to, just completely steal the game.
I totally agree. It's very dangerous what's going on right now. And the thing that's really interesting is that his opponent had assembled this counterbalance lock and was the one that busted it up himself. And he presumably feels that that's actually a good spot from where he's at right now.
Now, I'm interested to see what Ben is going to do to capitalize on the fact that he's broken out of this top war. Now he has the top in his hand, and he could conceivably attempt to resolve a top.
Okay, sure.
I'm surprised he
discards a Tarmogoyf.
yeah, he.
Absolutely. No.
I think
that was the
that
first time we've slowed
doesn't
down.
seem too unreasonable.
That's like the first time I said so. No, that's cool. We're gonna have a fight.
Ben is almost certainly going to attempt to counter this spell.
It's going to be a big war right now.
Yeah.
First step of the war, counterspell.
Yes.
Spell snare?
Red Elemental Blast. Next step
That
of the
resolves.
war.
Counterspell is still, or counterbalance is still there on the stack.
So the war, I say you pay 5 mana and you cast a Force of Will. Losing that many shuffle effects may be problematic, but
We're gonna fetch. On the stack still, fetch. 21, right?
Have you that going from
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 land that I can see available for
Just to fetch
Josh.
there, yeah.
Ben looks to have 5 land after he searches for this land that he's getting.
now I wonder if he's going to search for another land here, or if he's going to brainstorm. Decides to go with the brainstorm.
Quasi-ancestral. Grip.
That's just what he needed.
Sure.
Now,
Counterbalance resolves.
yeah, and that's okay. He has the grip. And Josh does not have a 3 near the top of his deck. In fact, I think the only 3 in his deck may be the Ensnaring Bridge. No, he,
Sword of the Meek, right? Yeah, I didn't think.
interestingly enough, he knew the Sword of the Meek was there, and he revealed it to Ben. This gives Ben more room to play around the combo, especially if he sees that Josh is not going to spin his top on his turn, which I doubt, but stranger things have happened.
In for 2. The life totals here are probably not what we have listed up there, but we'll get those correct when we get a chance.
Yeah,
There
there
have definitely been some lands that have been fetched, and
Yeah,
Yep.
both players have been activating fetch lands and the like.
Yeah.
Oh, they're also in
Swords, that's
swords,
right.
so these life totals are correct.
Have yourself a counterbalance.
Both these players must just be racking their brains. This is
This is the kind of Magic that Ben likes to play, though. I'm curious how close they're getting to the time limit, though.
yeah, it's
These are timed matches.
yeah, that's an interesting point.
How about a fight?
Rising Needle.
Yeah, and that's probably naming Thopter Foundry, if
Oh,
I
yeah.
had to guess.
Oh, yeah.
Guess he must have dropped
Now,
that.
that future state is still sitting there, being a real possible monster.
That's a card Ben's just going to have to deal with.
Absolutely.
I mean, he has a force in his hand.
Shuffles away the now unexciting Thopter Foundry.
And he could have played that Thopter Foundry and that sword about 3 turns earlier.
Randomly
And made
my
about
game
8 1/1s.
I was like, I put
while
the order of
having
ones you had in
counterbalance top assembled.
I didn't think it would ever come to it, but I was like, just in case.
But
If you want to hit those, more power
he
to
decided to
you.
break open the
I mean,
counterbalance
there
top.
could be an random situation
Oh, yeah,
where
yeah,
it's the
definitely.
nuts, but like.
I suppose he figured that because he had an extra counterbalance, that it was worth it to pop the explosives to get rid of Ben's and his own, in order to resolve his own. Ben's looking at his opponent's graveyard, checking what's there to see.
And then engineered. Yeah,
I'm
engineered.
trying to decide if I want to root for Ben, who I know, or if I want to root for Future Sight. Like,
Well, Future Sight is a regular addition to any deck with Enlightened Tutor and Legacy that plays counterbalance top.
we have a note from Rashad that Engineered Explosives is what was named by the Pithing Needle. Here it comes. Is it going to work? Let's see. He's checking. Top. Oh, is it there? I think I see it. Dun, dun, dun.
Boom. Pay 1 mana, you use no cards, counter your Future Sight. It's pretty good.
Cool.
Topping with a mountain. My upkeep. Sure.
I can't help it. I was hoping that that Future Sight was going to resolve.
Oh yeah, I mean, who doesn't root for Future Sight resolving? Future Sight is just one of those cards, man. Everybody, it's like, I'd say about like 3 out of every 10 good Magic players, when you ask them what their favorite card to have in cube is, will tell you it's Future Sight.
It's like you're playing a different game. You know, you're not playing Magic anymore. You're playing something neat. You know, Magic's a great game, but it's like, you're playing with exciting new rules. It's sort of like playing with Recycle. Recycle is one of those
I was actually
cards-
just thinking about
Yeah.
Recycle. That's crazy. I also like the art on Recycle, like Gerard getting sick thing. There is Null Profusion, the black Recycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to convince my friends to put that in our cube in addition to original Recycle, but they said it's a kind of random effect, and they don't want 2 of it.
Relic of Progenitus is another answer to,
The Thopter Sword combo.
yeah, and also another answer to any kind of effective use that he has of Academy Ruins. The first one in any case. Thopter.
He decides to go ahead and play the Thopter Foundry. Now Ben knows whether or not he has a 2 on the top of his deck.
He's got 3 sacklands there.
Yeah, I mean he can find a 2 if he needs to on the top. Points to the div top.
I don't see one there.
It's a Spell Pierce. Ooh, that's a grip.
That looks like a grip.
This is still auto response.
Cracks the relic.
Dropper.
Did he just pick up the sword?
Still top.
Oh, okay.
God,
I'll run it
through.
through.
Awake. What? What's a power quarry?
So we just had Drew come by to request something for the people doing coverage in the other room, and because we've been watching this counterbalance match so long,
Oh, are you guys
it's
just bored?
we're actually struggling to parse the words that he was speaking.
Can I bird this for a while?
Grab a seat.
Deal.
Hello, this is Adrian Sullivan coming to you live from the Star City Games Indianapolis Open Series. This is the top 4 of the Legacy. I'm joined by...
Drew Levin.
How did you do today?
I died in the top 8. I had fun. I 7-1-1 the Swiss and played against a huge variety of decks. I played blue, green, white counterbalance and liked my deck. I'd recommend it.
You lost to Ben Weinberg, right?
I did.
Yeah. So that made you 2 top 8s in a row, day after day, and right now we've got Ben Weinberg firmly in control with counterbalance, double top, a trinket mage in play attacking, and I believe 3 cards in hand versus a opponent playing the Thopter Squadron version, or sorry, the Thopter Foundry version of countertop, and nothing in play besides lands.
So Ben has, what, Brainstorm and Forcible on the top of his deck? I caught just a slight glimpse of that.
9.
The Force of Will is definitely there. I don't know what the other card is at this point.
Has he cracked Fetchland?
No, he has 4 sitting there, it looks like. Fetchlands are just so good.
Oh, yeah. It's an incredible amount of value in them. Especially once you've assigned countertop.
Yeah. I mean, I would gladly pay... it's
Oh,
counterbalance,
boy. That's
counterspell, Jace.
Counterspell Force of Will, Jace? I think.
Did he draw the force will? No, it looks like counterbalance, counterspell, Jace.
There's going to be a Jace coming into play.
Oh.
No. If I were him, I'd just float the Jace.
I think he drew it.
Oh, okay. And I'm not sure how he's winning if Moat resolves.
Yeah, he's got the Jace in
Run
his
real
hand.
good today.
Oh, yeah, he drew the force. There we go.
Jace.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't need to force on the top of his deck anymore. He already used
Dun
it.
dun dun.
Yeah, no, he's got Jace with counterspell force backup.
Okay.
He's got the top to draw the counterspell. So, Josh actually needs to, through Jace filtering all of his draws, hit Jace counterspell.
6, yep, shocking.
Which is very unlikely before
It's hard for me not to leave it on
Jace
top.
ultimates
and just in
and
general.
distraction on the play.
Now,
Last one. They
if
would
you're
be
Ben,
really
you just
hating
leave
us if it
whatever
came more.
card you see on the top of Josh's deck.
Depends on how good of an actor you are.
No, I lost a couple games today.
I mean, because obviously you induce him to crack the fetch, and
We're
at
actually
that point
2-2
you
in
just
games.
solidify your luck.
With a draw. Like, I
that
feel
was a
like I
bad
was like
combo keeper.
80% to win that game, but like it definitely was going to be a game still.
Yeah, definitely. I had a few turns to dry answers, but I was.
Right. And I think
was
some
in
of my
trouble.
Nitos might have been down too. So. We're very happy it's not time because I don't know who
Only
would have won
3
this game.
more attacks, guys.
You might have heard Ben Weinberg say, "Yeah, I'm very happy this one's untimed."
Yes. Wrath of God, your Trinket Mage, a strong play in Legacy. In this case, it's going to see a counter spell, which is great.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's
If
not
it's
like
untimed, he might just be like, "Oh well, whatever."
I guess I'll have to wait for another one.
Oh, are we leaving? Okay. Yep. I'm off to dinner. It's been a pleasure. Back to
well.
JVL.
Congratulations, Drew.
Thank you. I'll see you guys in DC.
That was Drew Levin. He top-aided both tournaments this weekend. This is Jacob Van Lunen.
I'm
here
Adrian
with-
Sullivan. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's Adrian Sullivan. And we are watching the semifinals at the Star City Games Legacy Open in Indianapolis.
That's right.
Currently, we are in Game 3. It's Ben Weinberg against Josh Guibault, and it's a counterbalance mirror.
Yep.
So if I sound tired, it's a counterbalance mirror.
You know, not only is it a counterbalance mirror, but what's the local time here? It's midnight local, a little bit after midnight.
It's
So
about
we've
12:23.
yeah, we have been watching Magic here since 8 a.m. So that's 16 hours of Magic, and there's still a round left.
I mean, like we
Whoa,
all
are we really paying that little attention?
we all know where it is.
Yeah. I'll fetch.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd be very sad if this is a good card.
Like it's not bad, but like it's not actually relevant.
It doesn't do anything right now.
2 more turns.
It does not do anything. No, do you actually only have one of each of these? You can go ahead and jump. I'm just curious.
Almost over, folks.
Yeah. No, okay. Surprised you don't have 2 volcanics.
Nah, I'm just really just there for blood moon.
How many fetches you play? 8.
Now this has got to be
You
a
have for black afterwards.
pretty
I mean,
good
the match is obvious.
feeling for Ben
But,
making
like,
the finals here. You know, last year he did exceptionally well
Relevant against don't play
at the
Racing.
Star Cities events. And this year,
Most of the land, so that-
I believe,
too, so-
was he in Kansas City? Did we see him there?
That's a whole different game anyway.
Yeah, he was in Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't think he's done particularly well at anything yet, but you know, Ben is an extraordinary player, and it's good to see him at the top of the standings again.
Okay, sure. Fight.
Down to 1.
Perfect.
And there we go.
And that's it.
I was floating.
We're off to a final.
Like,
A final of
that's why I forced, because I was like, I don't know. Like,